Hey, what's up, everybody? I figured I'd get a chance to discuss my review on the long, much anticipated Hocus Pocus 2, which comes, nearly 30 years after the original, movie, which, brings back the Sanderson sisters of Mary, Winnie, and Sarah, played by Bette Midler, Kathy, and Jimmy, and of course, Sarah Jessica Parker. The events, take place like nearly 30 years later, which ends up bringing the Sanderson sisters, back to modern day Salem to exact, their revenge, you know, from the events of what happened to them, nearly 30 years, you know, ago. And, it's kind of cool to see, that, even after almost 30 years later, that, that Bette Midler, Kathy and Jimmy and Sarah Jessica Parker could still play, the role of the Sanders sisters quite well, as they could be, quite goofy, quite silly, quite stupid, but also threatening at the same time. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not like what you'd call like a diehard fan of the original Hocus Pocus movie, which I've seen a few times since. I don't know, just the story just didn't really feel compelling, to me. And in terms of like the sequel, it kind of feels like more of the same, despite the charm of the three leads. And it's kind of cool you get to see, uh, the Sanders sisters story fleshed out, in the past, which I thought was pretty cool, and how they got their powers and all that, which I thought was pretty awesome. I mean, like I said, in terms of the story itself, I mean, I to an extent it was somewhat of an improvement, from the original movie, but I felt somewhat could have been a little better, and I also felt, I think, nearly 30-year gap between the two movies, I felt was a little bit too long, but like I said, but I'm in a sense I'm kind of glad that it finally happened because of the fan demand for it, and of course, the original movie, gaining cult status, even though at the time of its release it wasn't considered a box office success, which that can happen with certain movies, like even though when they're initially released they don't always turn out to be a hit, but sometimes throughout the years it gains like a cult following of sorts. So it's kind of cool to see that happen of sorts. I guess for those that have seen the original Hocus Pocus, I guess it's not a bad movie. I mean, not one of my favorites, but I guess it's good for like something to watch around the Halloween time and all that. So I mean, I would recommend seeing Hocus Pocus 2, just to see the Sanderson sisters, uh, back in modern day Salem, and see what other antics they've been up to, you know, after more than nearly 30 years later. So that's just my take on it. So, all right, everyone, thanks again, and look forward to sharing more content again soon. Take care.